Hello everyone. So in the previous lecture we have seen how does the mechanism of breathing takes place, or we can say how does the breathing occurs, that is the inhalation as well as exhalation. Now we will see how does the gaseous exchange occurs inside the individual. How does that O2 is being exchanged with the CO2. This process we will see in this lecture. So first of all, the topic is mechanism of gaseous exchange, that is the gases over here is O2 and CO2, that is oxygen and CO2. How does these gases being carried away, how does the oxygen is carried away from the lungs and how does it carry to the target site or the tissues, and from that target site how does the CO2 is being carried away to the lungs. This we will see in this lecture. So the first of all we will take the transportation of oxygen. Transportation of oxygen, we know that in our RBC, that is in our blood, we have a respiratory pigment called hemoglobin. It is a respiratory pigment which is made up of two components, that is iron. Heme over here stands for iron. It is the central part which remains surrounded with a protein chain. So this is basically the carrier over here which carries oxygen from the lungs to the tissues, and it also carries CO2 from that tissues to the lungs. This is the respiratory pigment. Now we will see how does this respiratory pigment shows affinity with different gases. What are the percentage of its affinity to show, we can say how much the percentage of affinity is shown by the hemoglobin to different gases. First of all, the hemoglobin binds, when hemoglobin binds with oxygen, it forms the structure called oxyhemoglobin. When it binds with CO2, then the structure which is formed is known as carbaminohemoglobin. This we have to remember, this is important over here. Hemoglobin when binds with carbon monoxide, then it forms the carboxyhemoglobin. So when we see the order of affinity shown by hemoglobin to different gases is, first of all it binds with CO2 because it shows more affinity, 200 times more affinity is shown by hemoglobin towards CO2. So whenever these gases are available at the same time, then it binds with CO2 first, then it will bind to the oxygen, and then it shows, that is at the end CO2 is the least over here, that is hemoglobin binds with CO2. It shows less affinity with CO2 as compared to oxygen or carbon monoxide. So this is the order basically. Now we are saying that hemoglobin is bind with oxygen and to form oxyhemoglobin, and in this way it is travelled to from the lungs to the target site. Now what is the percentage which is bind with the hemoglobin? 97% of oxygen is bind with hemoglobin, that is the oxyhemoglobin. 97% of oxyhemoglobin is travelled from the lungs to the tissues. Then what about the 3%? Remaining 3% of oxygen is dissolved, or we can say it travels through the plasma. It is travelled in the dissolved form through plasma. Now how does this transportation occurs? This is the windpipe, that is the trachea, which opens into two bronchi, and these bronchi then enters to their respective lungs. Now O2 is inhaled. We have seen this in the inhalation, which then enters into the windpipe, and then through the windpipe it enters to their respective bronchi, and from the respective bronchi to the lungs. Then it enters into the alveoli. We say that we know that alveoli is the main site, or we say that it is the site of gaseous exchange. We know that alveoli remain surrounded with the blood vessels. So when O2 enters into the alveoli, when it reaches into the alveoli, the concentration of O2 is high over here. Concentration of O2 is high in the alveoli. Now the Gases also shows diffusion. We know that gases move from their high concentration to their low concentration, and this is known as diffusion. Now this diffusion is occur over here. The concentration of oxygen is high in alveoli, and because of this it diffuses out of the alveoli. And since blood vessels remain surrounding the alveoli, or we can say the alveoli remain surrounded with the blood vessels, so this oxygen then enters into the blood vessels. Now we say oxygen is present in high concentration in alveoli, then it diffuses out into the blood vessels, and in blood vessels respiratory RBCs is there, and in RBC respiratory pigment called hemoglobin is there. Now this oxygen then binds with the hemoglobin to form the structure called oxyhemoglobin. It binds with the structure hemoglobin, it binds with the respiratory pigment called hemoglobin and the structure which is known as HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin. Now this oxyhemoglobin then travels through the blood vessels. Then it travels through the blood vessels and it enters to the target site or the tissues. So basically what happens over here? The concentration of oxygen is high in the alveoli, and because of its high concentration it diffuses out into the blood vessels. Blood vessels is having RBCs in it, and in RBC respiratory pigment called hemoglobin is present. Oxygen then binds with the hemoglobin to form the structure called oxyhemoglobin, which then travels through the blood vessels and it enters into the tissue site or the target site. Now we know that concentration of CO2 is high in the tissue site. At the tissue site the concentration of CO2 high because of the digestion has occurred over here. So CO2 concentration is high. So it is a property of hemoglobin that it shows dissociation, that is this oxyhemoglobin then dissociates to form oxygen and hemoglobin. Now this oxygen then enters into the tissue because the concentration of oxygen is high in the blood. Oxyhemoglobin is basically dissociated to form oxygen and hemoglobin. Now here the concentration of oxygen is high, so this O2 then enters into the tissues, it diffuses into the tissue. Now over here the concentration of CO2 is high, so the Hb which is dissociated from, that is the hemoglobin which has been dissociated from the oxyhemoglobin structure, now it will bind with this CO2. Now it will bind with this CO2 to form the structure called carbaminohemoglobin, that is Hb. Oxyhemoglobin is dissociated at the target site, at the tissue site, in order to form the oxygen and hemoglobin. Oxygen then diffuses into the tissues which then later be utilized. Hemoglobin which is left after the dissociation, then it shows affinity towards CO2 because the concentration of CO2 is high at the target site, and it forms the, after binding with the CO2, it forms carbaminohemoglobin. Now this carbaminohemoglobin again travels through blood vessels. It travels through blood vessels and it reaches up to the lungs. Now what will happen over here? Again the diffusion process will occur. It reaches up to the lungs, up to the blood vessels, carried this carbaminohemoglobin to the lungs. Now here concentration of oxygen is again high and concentration of CO2 is low. Basically in alveoli it is occurring. So concentration of CO2 Hb carbaminohemoglobin is reached up to the alveoli. Now this hemoglobin, again this shows dissociation, or it dissociate itself from the carbaminohemoglobin, and then the CO2 which is dissociated after this dissociation, which is freed itself from that dissociation, then it enters into, or it diffuses into the alveoli because the concentration of CO2 is less in alveoli as compared to outside the alveoli. So this CO2 after dissociation it diffuses into the alveoli, and the hemoglobin which is left after dissociation, then it again binds with the O2, and this will continue. This process will continue. That is, from here, carbaminohemoglobin is basically traveled, or it travels through the blood. Then it enters into the lungs, and at the lung side, concentration of oxygen is high and concentration of CO2 is low. So what will happen? That hemoglobin again shows dissociation, that is, it will dissociate itself, and hence the structure which is formed is hemoglobin and CO2. Now that CO2 will diffuses into the alveoli, because the concentration of CO2 is less in alveoli, so it will diffuses into the alveoli, and the hemoglobin which is left after dissociation, it will again bind with the oxygen to form the oxyhemoglobin, which again travels through the blood and through the blood vessels, and it again reaches up to the tissues. So this transportation will be continuous, since the process of respiration is a continuous process. So this transportation will occur in a continuous manner. But the point which we have to remember is that during the transportation of carbon dioxide, how does this transportation is basically occur? We have seen that 97% of oxygen is travels in the form of oxyhemoglobin, and 3% of oxygen travel in the form of dissolved or in dissolved formed in plasma. Similarly, 3 to 7% of CO2 is travelled in the form of, or we can say in the dissolved form in plasma, and 23% of carbon dioxide travels in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. That is basically the process will be this, the pathway will be this, that is the carbamino. 23% of carbamino will be travel in this way up to the lungs, and the remaining 70% of CO2 will travel in the form of, or we can say bicarbonate ions form. That is, in this way the transportation of carbon dioxide will occur, that is 3 to 7% of CO2 will be travelled in the dissolved form in plasma, because we know blood is made up of plasma and blood corpuscles, and 23% of CO2 will bind with the respiratory pigment called hemoglobin to form the carbaminohemoglobin structure, which then travel up to the lungs, and the remaining 70% of CO2 is then transported in the form of bicarbonate ions. In this way, the process of transportation of oxygen and CO2 will occur, and this is the continuous process, and this is the exchange occurring inside the individual. After physical process, we have learned how does this gaseous exchange is occurring inside the cell. So this is the method. First, we have to explain the transportation of oxygen, then we have to explain the transportation of carbon dioxide, what percentage of carbon dioxide is traveling or is travelled through the blood vessels up to the lungs or up to the tissues. This we have to remember, this is important over here, and what type of structure is formed after binding. So this is all about today. We will study the cellular respiration in the next lecture. Thank you.